Well, good morning, and welcome to the Life of Jesus in Historical Context online master's level class. My name is Dr. G, and I'm really excited that you're here and joining me and all the rest who are enrolled in this class in exploring at the master's level Jesus' life and his historical context, his teachings, the major events, and initial impact of his ministry and life on the first century world. Before we sort of proceed and I describe for you a couple of things that are important to know initially about the class, I want to pray. And I want to ask you to bow your heads with me as we invite the Lord to lead us and guide us through this process of discovery and revelation, and what I hope will be personal encounter afresh with Him. So would you bow your heads with me and we will pray together. Lord, thank you for this opportunity to come together through the miracle of online teaching and all the great provisions there. We're able from all over the country and even the world to come together and explore your life and your impact in the first century, the setting that you initially came to that defines so much about what we're to understand. You have revealed about your Son, Jesus Christ, and his impact and work in the world, his death and resurrection, which is at the core of everything that we call the gospel. Lord, we want to commit our time to you now and ask for your grace and your strength. We don't have a lot of time to get into a lot of material and depth, but we will, and we're going to need your help and your strength and your wisdom and guidance to do that. I also want to pray for my friends, Lord, that beyond all the reading and the hard work and the diligence required for this class, that you would encounter them, Lord, in a personal way, that you would reveal to them, each and every one individually, who you are, not just in history, but in their lives, and what you're doing in this chapter and season of each of their lives and ministries as you continue their training toward graduation and being released and fulfilled in the calling that you have for each of them in the world and in the church. Lord, I pray for refreshment and renewal. I pray for my friends who are struggling right now in ways not related necessarily to school, though some may be, that you would uplift them and strengthen them, and that you would walk them through this time with unexpected ease and joy, and again, revelation of who you are and what you're doing and have done. Lord, we commit our time to you, and we're expectant for good things, for lots of knowledge to flow, and for a deeper sense of your personal and intimate presence in our lives, as we honor you and worship you in considering who you are and who you are in the world and who you are to each of us. Lord, be with us now by the power of your Spirit, we pray. In the strong name of Jesus, we say, amen. Amen. All right, friends. Well, again, as you can tell by my prayer, I'm expectant. Anytime you study the life of Jesus, it's pretty much a foregone conclusion, if you're open and sensitive to it, that you're going to encounter him afresh. That what you're going to do, if you're open to it, is not just explore the fabric and the meaning and the impact of his life and his ministry and his teaching, but you're going to explore his person by the power of the Spirit, because Jesus is alive and well on planet Earth today. He's going to show himself in fresh ways to you, and I really have that expectation for us as we join together. It's a short period of time, unfortunately, 7 weeks. With that, there is a lot of work. I won't sort of pull back on that. There is a lot of reading in particular. And so I want to give you next a few hints and helpful insights on how the course is built and what's important to know with regard to that. The first thing you need to know, of course, is the syllabus. That is available under Information tab on your online course. On the back or the bottom of that particular set of downloadable items, there is a syllabus acknowledgement form. Make sure you look at the syllabus carefully. Make sure you compare that to the online schedule always. They run parallel. And make sure above all else that you sign the acknowledgement form according to the instructions on the Information tab. As you scroll all the way down, you'll find the syllabus acknowledgement form submittal instructions. And make sure you do that immediately online. That way the registrar will register you officially in the class. Until you actually do the syllabus acknowledgement, you're actually not registered in the class, or at least engaged in participating according to the registrar. So you want to make sure that that gets done right away, and that it's effective. If you have any trouble with that or anything else, you can always email me. That's the easiest way to catch me. Text or call even. My information is on the front of the syllabus, as well as I believe on the information pages online in Blackboard. But in any case, just let me know and I can help you, and I'd love to be able to do that. One other thing that I want to point you toward as you look through the syllabus and discover what is being required of you in the course, you'll notice that initially especially there's a lot of reading in the course. There's actually 3 books that you'll be required to read. Craig Blomberg's book, which is Jesus and the Gospels, an Introduction and Survey, is really the central textbook of the course. And that you'll be required to read all the way through, as well as the other 2 books. But you'll want to do that carefully and according to the schedule posted online and on the syllabus as much as you can. The textbook is really the central informational text for the course itself. The other 2 books, Marcus Bockmuell's The Cambridge Companion to Jesus and James Vanderkam's An Introduction to Early Judaism, are required reading early on in the course, meaning within the first 3 weeks, both because there are quizzes posted on week 3 and week 4 on those texts, but also because they're really very important contextual, historical background information, especially the book on Judaism, for the opening of the course, which is, as you'll see, going to be an in-depth treatment of Jesus' historical context, as is the title of the course and its indication. So I want to encourage you to read those 2 books as quickly as possible, and I want to give you instructions on how to do that. Again, on week 1, you'll find under lessons this handout posted at the bottom, as well as a handout for instruction on the book critique. But I want to mention this, how to read or college read a book, because in reading the Bockmuell and Vanderkam text, I want to encourage you, not so much about Blomberg because it is a textbook and you're going to want to spend a little bit more detailed time there, but the other 2 texts you can read very quickly according to the instructions given on that sheet. College reading a book has to do with getting the essence of the book by looking at various parts of the book very carefully in a certain order, but not necessarily reading every single word of the text. And as you read through the instructions on how to college read a book, I think not only will you be encouraged to read quickly and accurately the 2 texts that I mentioned, but also any other reading that you might have in subsequent classes. I call it college read for that reason, that in college you read a lot of books, and at the master's level and beyond, there's no exception to that rule. And so you'll want to learn how, if you already haven't, to quickly scan texts and get the essence and the meaning and significance of them without having to labor over every single word of the actual text itself. Again, I won't belabor the instruction, but I do want to let you know that this how to read a college book is very important instruction for this class and others, and I think it'll be really helpful to you. Read through it, pay close attention to the order in which you're reading the front cover, back cover, various parts and components of the book, including the introduction and conclusion, and then the chapters themselves of any given book, and see if that doesn't serve you in terms of speeding up the process and also making sure that you have an accurate intake of the book and its meaning itself. The other thing I want to describe for you, if I can, is the posting sequence. It's pretty clear, but by Wednesday every week you should be posting your original responses to the Blomberg text, which again runs throughout the course in a certain pacing, and you're being asked to interact around certain chapters. By Sunday of every week, you're going to want to respond to other people, and the instructions again are online and in the syllabus. But do note that every week, except the last week of our course, you'll be required to do postings and responses, which is of course a huge part of the online experience. and there are time frames set for that. Make sure you get out early, make sure you hit those time frames. You will lose points if you don't, and so I like to mention that. The other thing that I want to mention are the assignments that are due at the end of the course. The book critique on the Blomberg text is a 3-page, no longer, 3-page paper that has very specific instructions attached. Again, on week 1, under lessons, you'll see a downloadable instruction set, several sheets describing exactly what the book critique looks like. Please pay close attention to those instructions and follow them accordingly, because your grade in that assignment is really all about the form. I'm assuming that everybody reads the book, or you wouldn't be able to post and respond online. So I don't need so much, in terms of a summary of the book, but rather your perspectives on the book and what impacts were made by that book in the course is really the content of that assignment. And the form is very important. The way that the form of the book critique lays out is critical. The last assignment, beyond the final exam, which will be offered in the 7th week, is a Jesus essay, 1,500 words. It's really answering the question, who is Jesus to you? Or who do I say Jesus is? It's kind of keying off of that passage where in Caesarea Philippi, Jesus encounters his disciples and asks that question, and Peter answers. But I want your answer for that, and that's just a less sort of formalized form and more kind of content driven in terms of your own appreciation for who Jesus is historically and in your own life. Do follow your basic Turabian guidelines for an essay, introductory paragraph, concluding paragraph, and so on. But that one's really all about getting a sense of your writing style and appreciation for the person of Jesus in history and in your own life. And is a pretty straightforward assignment, and I think pretty enjoyable. The last note is really all about kind of pacing yourself in the class. 7 weeks is not a lot of time to study anything, let alone the life of Jesus. There's a lot to cover. I think you'll find that the course is very rewarding and global in its approach, both in terms of an appreciation of the Jewish and cultural and social context of the first century, but also in terms of the major events and teachings and sort of rough timeline of Jesus' life. This is not a chronologically organized course. That would be interesting too, but this is more just looking at the big issues and big teachings and big events, including obviously the death and resurrection at the center of Jesus' life and ministry to the world. And so I hope you have a great time with it. I'm expectant that the Lord is going to meet us all. Please reach out and let me know if there's any questions you have or anything that I can help with. Again, email is the best, and my email address is on the syllabus. But I wish you all the best blessing and experience during this course, and I'm very excited and really grateful to have the opportunity to lead us through by also all of us being led by the Spirit into and through the life of Jesus and his impact and beyond. So good luck with the work, and let me know how things go, and I'll see you online.